We're going to be doing a small, quick guide to Phantom Camera. The Phantom Camera is a very robust and also very easy, very simple to use uh, plugin for controlling camera in any game. However, it does have its quirks, and we're going to go through what you need to do to set up Phantom Camera so that it works. If for anyone who had any trouble, you will see that once you understand it, it's very simple. Of course, obviously, that's the same with many tools, but I think with Phantom Camera itself is very easy once you get past that first confusion period. And it's not much of a confusion period, I will say, compared to other plugins. So the first thing is that we're going to download from the asset library. We're going to download Phantom Camera twice. So the first thing that you have to do is go into Project and Project Settings, and you go into Plugins, and you go into Phantom Camera, and you enable it. So it's update. Let me update it. So I guess I was on a previous version of it, but it comes with the kind of script. Let me reload the project. So now that we have the plugin enabled, we're going to go to the node list, and Phantom Camera is going to be there. It's already, the Phantom Camera host is already there, but that's not the one we want. The one we want is Phantom Camera 2D or 3D. So these are pretty much the nodes we're going to be using most of the time. So let's create a Phantom Camera. It created it as a child of Camera 3D. You don't want that. Now you want to have one Camera 3D on the scene. You need one Camera 3D on the scene. And you need the Phantom Camera and the Camera 3D to be in the same level, to call it, in terms of the tree. Of course, everyone is a child of main scene, but they need to be on the same tree level. You cannot, for example, have one of them in another level, because that creates errors. They need to be, for some reason, I don't know what it is. I haven't tested it a lot to see if there's any problem, but that is something important to consider. So even if you have it on another node, for example, you can add just a normal node and call it something like camera system, and you can have all your camera stuff in there, and as long as they are on the same level, there is not going to be any problem. I have at least tested this. It doesn't give any problem. But for now, of course, because we have a simple scene, I'm just going to put it back normally, just under the main scene node. And we're going to need one other node. Is the Phantom Camera host. Now the Phantom Camera host, you're going to put it on the camera 3D host. On the camera 3D. So the camera 3D is just a normal camera 3D node. And you only need one with the camera host, and you can have multiple as long as they are on the same level. Like I say, you can have multiple phantom cameras. And that, of course, what it does is that it controls the camera 3D so that it works together with the phantom camera. So the phantom camera 3D, what it's doing, and you can see that it has like a ghost, and like it controls the camera. The ghost is controlling the camera. If you will look at the icon, let's check the script. So it extends from node 3D. It doesn't extend from camera 3D. So the phantom camera is not an actual camera 3D node. It's a node 3D that controls the camera 3D node through this phantom camera host node. That is because it's the child of the camera 3D. It's just going to know which is the camera 3D is going to control, because of course it's going to be its parent. So that's all you need for the basic functionality of phantom camera. Of course, this just makes sure that everything will work. You still need to set up the phantom camera. And of course, there's the priority override and the priority, and this all it does is when there are more than one phantom camera, because you can have as many phantom camera as you can, it will control which one is going to have the priority, and the one with the highest priority is going to be the one that is being used at that point. So the camera 3D is just going to go to the phantom camera with the highest priority is the one that will have the control over the camera 3D. That will be the right way of saying it. So, of course, there are various follow modes depending, and the project does have various demos that you can see how each one it behaves. Of course, it all depends on what do you want. And the look at mode is different because the follow mode is how it's going to follow as you move, as the player move, how it is going to follow behind the player, what type of behavior it's going to have. And the look at move is how it's going to look towards the player or the target, if you want to look at another target that is not the player. This is what will control that. Now the twin, this controls how it interpolates between the changes of the camera. And you can see that there's a duration and a type of interpolation, and that just changes how fast it changes from camera to camera. Well, later when I put another camera, I'll just demo it so that it is easily seen. If you want the camera to change instantly, you need to change the duration for 0. Even taking out the camera, you just use some sort of default. Well, I haven't tested that well, but I think that's what happened. So, and of course, we don't load if it's going to instantly, when loading the game, if the camera is going to instantly go into the camera, whatever the phantom camera has the priority, if it's going to instantly load in that position, or if it's going to have a twin, which means that it's going to interpolate. It's going to be on another position, and it will slowly go into the position of the whatever the phantom camera with the highest priority as the start is. In active update mode, I have no idea what it is, and the camera 3D resource. I think this just controls a little bit of how the position that is going to the camera 3D is going to have relative to the phantom camera. Of course, the phantom camera controls it, so will the and we can see it now because right now, if we look at the position, they are both on the same position. And if I change the position of the phantom camera, let's raise it a little bit, and I click on the camera 3D, it also changed the position of the camera 3D. So if I'm not mistaken, what this does is, because normally camera 3D is just going to be in the same position as phantom camera, you can control its offset relative to the phantom camera. So let's try a little bit here. Well, I don't know if that's the case. Oh, wait. I was hitting the wrong one. Well, there are other options like field of view and probably how close and far it can go. What does it do is something that you will need to test. But let's take a look here if I can put it. Very close. So right now the phantom camera is pretty much looking at the platform. So let's see how that looks. And you can see moving up. That's the offset. I'm pretty sure that if I put it at 0, it will stay in the same position. And it stays on the same position. Right, so this was the vertical offset. So when the game is running, the camera 3D is going to be a little bit offset compared to the phantom camera. That's the whole point of this. And we can use an horizontal offset that might be something good for an over-the-shoulder camera, for example. And it's probably going to the side. There you go. Now it's an offset. Now the reason why it's taking a while to move at the start is because we have the twin on load. I'm pretty sure that if we remove the twin on load, but let's test it. There's a lot of, you see, now it didn't do that. So it's all about testing what do you want, and it depends on what you, obviously it depends on what do you want to do with the camera, with the phantom camera, and testing and making the mistakes and trying different things. But usually, of course, you have some different ways in which you can set things up. Right now, I have just your normal camera. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to put, because it's spawning at the top, I'm just going to put a normal camera that is a little bit high and is looking at the player. And the look at target is going to be the player. So right now, when we look at how it looks, of course, as you can see, it's moving, it's following the player, it's looking at the player. It's not following it, which means the player can go as far as it wants without the camera following it. But it's looking at it. So let's create a second camera. A second camera, second phantom camera. Wait, let's go to the main scene. Let's create another phantom camera. And let's get the priority of this one to 1. And this one is going to be 0 for now. So this is the second phantom camera. But this phantom camera is going to be like over there. So when we get here, and we are going to use a different type of camera. What we are going to do is that we're going to put, let's put a path camera. Okay? And in order to have a path, of course, we need a path. We need the follow target. Obviously, it's very simple. And you can see that it went straight into the position of the player. But actually, no, it did not. But right now it's on the middle because there is no path. So once we assign a path, the camera is going to be on the path. So the first thing we need is to add a path. And this is going to be a path 3D. You don't need a path follow, only a path 3D. So the path 3D, let's add a couple of points. It will do. So let's go and assign the path 3D. And now you can see that the camera moved over there. In here we have hit a little bit of a wall, shall we say, because we obviously want it to switch from one into the other. Now what we can do for now in order to test that it's working is giving it a higher priority. So now that it has a higher priority and the twin unload, then it should follow the player. But of course we need it to look at the player. So the look at mode, of course, simple. That's what is important, that there are two different, follow the player, follow the target, and looking at the target are two different things. So yeah, now of course I'm looking at the target, and now you can see how it is moving and following the path. Now we can add And I don't know if this is what is causing it. I don't think it's the twin unload. I think it's the damping. So I'm pretty sure that now that we added the damping option, I mean it will it will do that. And now instead of instantly changing, and I mean I have no doubt that we can control how fast it changes. So let's put it to the max to see what that does. Okay, that's the look at damping. What does the follow damping does? I'm liking how it's moving now because it's not moving as fast. It's sort of, but maybe it should be a little bit faster. Let's try zero point 0.7. And of course, a lot of using phantom cameras just trial and error or until you think it feels right. See, now it's feeling even better. And of course, we can, by changing the way the path works, we can change how fast they are going to switch from one view to the other. I think that we should also change the Y position. The Y position to one precisely or two. Let's try one. Now it should not look like we're looking from below, but now it looks like it's on the position of this structure. Maybe I am now too. Of course, we can keep tweaking I'm not liking how it's making that change in there. Maybe I should add more points. So let's make sure everyone is at 1, and let's close the loop. And now it's changing better, right? Because when it gets to the corner, now what happens when you go here? This one will require additional work. But right now we have gotten here without switching between them, and here is where we have to learn how to switch, because right now we need to switch to the one on the top. And there are various ways, of course, in which we can, well, there is really one right way in which you're supposed to do it, and that's changing the priority. Whatever the highest priority is, that's where the camera 3D is going to go. However, how do you change the priority? And that, of course, there are many different things you can do. What I will do is that I'm just going to add a camera manager node, which is just going to be a normal node. Yeah, a normal node. I don't even need it to be a node 3D, and I'm going to put it around here so that all the nodes are under it. I could make all of them childs of it so that I know that this is the camera manager, controller, director, whatever you want to call it, is a node that is going to control our other nodes. And it doesn't need to be the parent, really. Because all we are going to do is sending signals. Well, sometimes sending signals, sometimes just using code to set the priority. And how we're going to do it? Well, it's very simple. First, we're going to export variable. Actually, export var. Sorry, I'm a bit rusty. And I'm using the old way of doing it. And this is going to be cam1. And is going to be a node 3D. And we're going to do the same thing. Of course, there are much better ways to do it. Probably using a list will be even better so that you can set up exporting the list and set up it, well, export the array and set it up on the editor. But right now we're just dealing with two cameras, so whatever. So this is what we're going to use for cameras, and of course, what we're going to do is let's create a couple function. Let's create a function, and I'm going with my head. Probably there are much better ways to create a code like this, but I'm going with my head on doing something very simple that is self-explanatory. And we're just going to create a function to give the priority to one camera or give the priority for the other. Cam one, of course, we cannot use the same name for the function as the variable. So this will be cam1 activated or cam1 on. Let's put it cam1. There you go. And this is very important because now we need to know how to speak with the Phantom camera 3D. So let me go into the Phantom camera. Uh, Documentation, and let's see how it's done. And priority is one of the first things, and the most, because of course it's one of the most important things. So how do you do it? Here's the setter. This is how you do it. Set the priority and you set the number. So this is all we need. Set priority, and that is how we're going to do it. So set priority and a number, and we can put it 1, for example. And for now, of course, we have two cameras. So one of them is 1, the other one is 0. And just to make it, of course, because if camera 1 is going to be the 1, of course, we need to make sure cam 2 set priority. And this is going to be 0. And we're going to do the same thing for the function in order to activate the other camera. Except this one is going to be called cam2 on, and we are going to flip the values here. Now, there are better ways of doing it, but I think this is a self-explanatory way of what we're doing. We're telling when one camera is going to have the priority and the other one not. Very simple, very self-explanatory way of doing it. And of course, we're going to go into the camera director and we assign, of course, the camera 1 is going to be the one on top and the camera 2 is going to be the path, the one with the path. And of course, we now need to trigger those functions, and that is very easy. We're going to just use, I mean, again, there are many ways of doing it, but because we're pretty much using a 3D character here, the best way will be to use areas. Of course, when it's on the area at the top, is going to set the priority of the camera at the top to 1, and of course the same goes for an area at the bottom. So all we need are 2 areas. So area 3D, 2 area 3Ds. And I'm going to duplicate it. Because right now, of course, they do not have children, they do not have anything, resources. So this is the perfect way. And of course, we need a collision. So collision. Collision. Let's go with a collision shape. And we need to give it a shape. So let's go with box shape. And now we have the box shape. And we need to make sure it doesn't go beyond the top because we don't want both collisions to start fighting each other. I think that's fine. This one is a little bit disjointed on the button. So let's put let's make a nice so now when the player is inside here, of course, the area body enter of course isn't going to be a body because the player is a body. Connect. We're going to connect with the camera director. So now, once the player body enter, then cam1, cam1 on. There you go. And guess what we're going to do with, guess what we're going to do with the other. If you think we're going to do the same thing, you are right. So let's just go, and we want this one to be big. The button, of course, it cannot be touching the other collision. So let's make sure that we can see it. Let's make the wall. And I think that I have it backwards right now. We're going to look at them because I think I put the ground function on the signal, on the wrong signal. So let's just do the same thing. Node, body enter, connect, player. No, not player. Camera director, connect. Yeah, this is not supposed. I have it backwards. This one is supposed to be 2, and this one is supposed to be 1. Cam. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. And because at the start, I'm not going to be entering or exiting any areas. I will just spawn inside one of them. Let's get the priority of camera 2 to 0. So now the one with the priority is 1. So let's see if that works. I might have mixed. I I definitely mixed something. Let's check on the remote to see who has. Okay, why do you have the priority? And I seem to have mixed up. Okay, this one is the priority. This one is how it should be. Now let's make sure. For some reason, is triggering the code. Well, it might be because there are other bodies. So let's go into the camera director. Well, first things first, let's check the code for player to see if the player is a class. Okay, class name player, good. The player has a class, so we're going to use that. And we're going to check if body is player. Then, and the same goes here. If body is player. Oh yeah. Let's see if there was another bully. And that was the problem. There was another bully. Probably the coins. Messing up the logic. So right now, of course, we're controlling, I mean, the Phantom camera 3D at the top is the one that has the priority. Now, once I enter the the structure here, now is the path one. And you know what? I think and that was a nasty because it went back to the one at the top. Maybe if I make it a path, the top one, I make it a path, it could improve those changes. But let's look how a change from this side look. So it changed back. So and this looks fine. It's just from that side where the problem is. But you get, I think it's obvious at this point. Of course, you get the gist of it, the basics of how to change the camera priority in order to get, of course, different behaviors. I mean, different phantom cameras with different behaviors. Now we could change the behavior of the top camera a little bit. Maybe we can use. So let's try frames. Okay, so let's try some of those offsets. Where did it move? No, that's not what I want. Let's try 5. And let's see how this one looks. Okay, so we're doing some progress here. I will say 4 and 8. So now it should be higher, but that's and it now moves with my character. So this is a much better solution. Maybe 8 was way too far. And I can see the platform. Yes, now I cannot see. that that is too wonky. That is something that you will need to test a lot. Well, actually, let's just extend. Let's just extend. You know, let's see how that works. Right? Because I can see. That's still very wonky, but it's an improvement, I will say. How does it look on this side? Doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look that bad. But again, trial and error. Trial and error. Of course, that's how you work with the Phantom camera.